America has carried out over 600 airstrikes in 2025 since Trump took office in January. And so here's all the 8 countries he bombed, which some of them you won't even know about. But back in February, we got the first reports of the US bombing Somalia. The US at the time announced they've done it, but they've been doing it ever since then. They just haven't spoke about it since they first announced it. These strikes were and still are against ISIS, and there's a lot of reports they're working with the Somalian government to carry out the attacks. But just a month after the US did that, they actually bombed Iraq, and they killed the second highest in command of ISIS. Iraq called that man, quote, one of the most dangerous terrorists in the world. And then, in the exact same week, the US started their war on the Houthis in Yemen. That lasted from about mid-March to early May, but there is one thing, that there's a lot of evidence they mainly killed civilians in those strikes. The cost of that US war on the Houthis also quickly went up into the tens of billions of dollars, mainly because of how much damage the Houthis were causing to the US. But then, just the next month in June, as everyone should know about, the US bombed Iran. This, as you should know, was the US helping out Israel in their 12-day war on Iran, and they bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. Although I will say that Israel is now claiming those US strikes on Iran actually didn't work, so the US needs to try again. And the US has said they will. Seriously. Anyway, now the more recent strikes that most people should know about. Obviously, over the last few months, the US has been bombing Venezuelan and Colombian boats in the Caribbean. The US accuses these boats of carrying drugs into the US. At least 100 people are dead from those strikes as well. Then, obviously, a few days ago, the US bombed Venezuela and they kidnapped the president Maduro. Between then and bombing the boats in the Caribbean, though, the US also bombed Syria and Nigeria. In Syria, they struck ISIS after 3 American soldiers were killed after an ISIS soldier attacked the US. And in Nigeria, they bombed ISIS again, striking northwest Nigeria, possibly killing dozens of ISIS fighters. So in total, the US bombed at least 8, but possibly 9 countries in 2025, and it seems that that's going to continue now. Trump dropped officially at least 626 airstrikes in 2025. That's more than Joe Biden did in his entire 4-year term in office. But I'm sure things will continue, so you can leave me a follow to stay updated on that.